I just want to first say that I have been blocking my blessings for a year because his fucking dick is huge.
What?
His shit is like huge. Like it was like I couldn't even get the whole thing in my mouth.
Oh, it's huge.
Like huge.
Ooh.
And he's a fucking freak. He ate my ass, ate my pussy. What? We were in a shower. Like he's a freak. I was blocking my blessings.
Damn.
And so then the first thing I'm thinking is, fuck, now I fucked both of them. They know each other. I gonna talk to. I don't know. I just keep thinking about people talking shit and then me being in an awkward situation. But I was like, fuck it. This nigga, his dick is way better than the other dude's dick anyway. So I'm probably gonna keep fucking him for sure.
Right.
But so here's the thing. So we fucked. We were doing vaginal, right? And then I was like, we should fuck in my ass because I like whatever. So we started doing anal. He had a condom on. He was fucking me in the ass. Then we stopped. He took it off and I sucked his dick. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, yo, sit on it. And I was like, okay. And like it was no condom, but I was like, you be in the moment. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I did it.
Of course.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So we started by whatever. We finished. He didn't nut at me or anything like that. But I didn't go to the bathroom afterwards. And we fell asleep. And I left, went home, whatever. The next morning I woke up and I had like some pain in my, I don't know, pelvic area, whatever you want to describe it as. And I was like, all right, that's a little bit weird. Maybe I'm just sore because it was a big fucking huge dick and I never have sex.
Word.
Right? So then Monday, like when I peed, it was really, really hurting. And I was like really concerned. And so I was pretty sure that I had a UTI, urinary tract infection. So that's when bacteria gets in your bladder. And so I went to the doctor and everything, and I did have a UTI, and I started taking an antibiotic. But I wanted to bring this up because I don't know if people know about UTIs, or if you've ever had a UTI, or if you know anything about them. So I thought that I would talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're super, super common.
They're extremely common, like for women, for sure.
I think we talked about yeast infections is what we did talk about. But for me personally, I've always received them hand in hand. Like a lot of times, common. If I get a yeast infection, then I also get a UTI.
Right.
So yeah, but I know that they're super, super common, especially here in South Florida, and as hot and wet as it is down here. Sure. It is like, yeah, so for women, getting UTI is super, super common, mostly because our anatomy, like our vagina and urethra, is right next to our fucking anus, which is where the bacteria comes from that causes the infection. And because our urethra, where your bladder is, it's urinary tract infection, is shorter than a man's. So it's so easy for the bacteria to get up inside your bladder. So the difference really, first of all, UTIs aren't an STD. They're not a sexually transmitted, and they're not contagious. It's really just a bacterial infection, and you just take antibiotics to get rid of it, and you drink a lot of water. Yeah, it's just uncomfortable. And
yeah, so it can burn when you pee. You can have blood in your urine. You can have cramps. Sometimes you can have the feeling of like you pee and then you feel like you still have to pee, but you've peed everything out. But I just want to mention that one big difference is UTIs show up right away. So if you were to fuck somebody and the next day it burns when you piss, that's not an STD. STDs are generally asymptomatic in general, like you're not going to have symptoms, but if you do, it's going to take like 1 to 3 weeks for that to even show up.
Right.
So if you feel something right away, most likely, and I'm speaking for women, not for men, because it's way less likely for men to get UTIs. But if you're a woman and you wake up the next day after sex, especially if you've had anal to vaginal sex, that's definitely a fucking UTI. Just go to the doctor and get some antibiotics.
Makes sense. And it's not hard to, and that's another thing. The two of us just sit here and talk openly about, I had a yeast infection, I had a UTI.
Right.
Like, I reiterate that it is super common. I don't know any woman who hasn't had a yeast infection or a UTI. Like, I don't know any woman who hasn't had that.
Me neither.
And so I also need men to understand, because I feel like men are quick to
stigma.
Right. I remember I had a friend a long time ago who she had a UTI, and so she had to take pills for it. And the guy she was dating at the time, like, cursed her out on some, like, you're cheating on me.
No.
I ain't nothing wrong with my dick, so how the fuck did it
has nothing to do with your dick?
It has nothing to do with it. And so I think
you can literally get a UTI from wearing a thong.
Right.
You can get a fucking UTI from dirty water from the toilet splashing into your fucking urethra.
it's inevitable. So like it's gonna happen. So I think that is an excellent point to bring up. I'm glad. I just really need women and men to understand that it is common. Women, you aren't dirty or disgusting because you have a UTI or a yeast infection.
I feel like it's important for everybody to know that open communication is key. And talking about, I think another thing is you have to know your body, because if you are not aware of what your body produces, like vaginal discharge, how you smell normally, you're not going to recognize when something is off.
Right.
So you need to be aware of your body to be able to say, hey, something doesn't feel right. You know?
Yeah, that's what they tell you, like, to, like, always feel on your breast. Correct. And make sure you don't have any lumps. And I think that masturbation is very important for things like that. I think you should be able to stick your finger up there and know, like, this is how I feel normally. Correct. So then when you stick it up there and it don't feel the same, like, you understand that there is a problem.
Although I don't like sticking fingers inside of me. I don't know what is it about fingers, but I do like sticking, obviously, dicks, but objects inside. Right. Yeah. And like recently I have been masturbating quite often, like vaginally. Mm-hmm. Like freak house.